Welcome to the fourth episode of Strategy Sprint by Consulting and Strategy Club of IIM Lucknow. Today, we are going to do a deep dive in mergers and acquisition case with Aniket. So, Aniket, just let us know when you're ready to take up the case.
Yeah, ready up, sir.
Cool. So, your client is an international alcoholic beverage manufacturer and they are looking to acquire a local beer company based in India. They want to do a due diligence and understand whether this is a good fit for the company or not.
Right. So, just to be clear on the case statement, our client is an international alcohol manufacturer who are looking to acquire a local beer manufacturer in India, and we have to evaluate if it's a good investment opportunity.
Yes, that is correct.
Sure. Can I take a minute to come up with a few clarifying questions?
Sure.
Right. Right. So, I have a few questions on the asset at hand, which is the local beer manufacturer. Can I know what segments does it operate in? When you say beer, is it just the standard beer that we drink, or are there different types of beer, such as wheat beer or lager beer?
You can say that the target company manufactures a light standard lager kind of beer,
Right.
which is sort of catering to the mass market
Mm-hmm.
and is priced at a lower end. So it's comparatively cheap as compared to other offerings of beers.
Right. And by local, does that mean it operates in some specific state in India or city in India?
Yes, that is correct. So the target primarily operates in Western India. To be specific, their operation is concentrated towards Goa.
All right. Uh, Thank you. And do we have any information about the financials of the company as well, as to their maybe revenue or market share?
With respect to financials, you could say that the company is comparatively healthy and enjoys decent amounts of profit margins with respect to the competitors.
Right. So since you mentioned competitors also, in my understanding, Goa has a lot of competitors, both regional and also maybe international competitors like the bigger brands. Is that correct, or is there a different scenario?
Yes, your understanding is correct. You can proceed with that for the context of this case.
Um, Thank you. And since you mentioned that we are priced at a lower segment, I would assume that our customers are also like the mass market and would capture probably three kinds of customers: the occasional drinkers, the regular drinkers, and also the social drinkers, since lower priced
Hmm.
beers are available everywhere and people can drink across income segments.
Yeah, that is a fair understanding. You can proceed with that.
Uh, sure. Thank you. Can I take a minute before I proceed with structuring the case?
Sure.
Actually, before I deep dive into the case of Sal, I think there are a few questions that I missed with regards to the acquirer of the acquirer in this case.
Sure.
What is the global presence of the larger firm? You mentioned they have global presence. Where are they located and where do they operate?
Right. So the acquirer is located in Europe
Mm-hmm.
and they are primarily operating globally throughout various countries.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a presence in India as well.
Hmm. All right. And is there any specific objective that they have in terms of market expansion or increasing profits?
They primarily want to expand their market in India. Currently, as it stands, they are manufacturing just whiskey right now,
Hmm.
and they want to expand their product portfolio, especially with respect to India. So, based on that understanding, they are going ahead with this acquisition.
Okay, sounds fair. And last question, is there any specific thing that the acquirer brings to the table in terms of huge capital or market brand awareness or something else?
Given that the acquirer is a comparatively larger company, they have better brand equity as compared to the target, and obviously they have a lot of capital with them
Hmm.
to help the target company as well.
Alright. Got it. So I would like 30 seconds here to structure my approach further.
Sure.
Right. So I would broadly look at three things here. Firstly, I would look at the financial performance, which is the financial performance of the target company, the local beer manufacturer, where I would look at the revenue structure and the cost structure. Secondly, I would look at the operational feasibility of this acquisition, where I would look at various aspects such as the target segments that the company is currently dwelling with, the channels that they are using to go to market, and the production capacity that they have. And lastly, I would look at some synergies as well, since both appear to operate in the same market, which is alcohol. There would be various synergies involved in this transaction. And lastly, I could also look at some legal risks involved with the transaction. Is that a fair approach?
Yeah, this sounds like a fair approach. Let's go ahead with it.
All right. Can I take 10 seconds before I structure the approach to the financial feasibility of
Sure,
aspect?
let's.
Right. So, within the financial performance, I would look at the revenue structure of the new company. What has their revenue been since the last few years? Is it increasing? And is their market share also increasing as a consequence? To figure out if they are a viable product in the market and it's been successful in the West area that they operate in. Secondly, I would look at the cost structure as well to see what is their cost performance, and look at the cost that they are bearing on various aspects such as raw materials, procurement, and also the sales cost, since sales cost appears to be very high in this new industry. And lastly, I would also look at aspects of IRR and ROI to see if it matches with the objective that the company has in mind. Is
Hmm.
that fair?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
All right. Can I take 10 seconds to build my approach to the operational aspect as well?
Yeah, fine.
Right. So in the operational feasibility, I would look at four things. Firstly, I would look at the target audience or the customers of the asset in mind, and see who are they and why are they buying from our company. So to say who they are, you mentioned that we are a mass market brand and can cater to various market segments because we are priced at a lower segment. So this, as I mentioned before, that it can cater to all kinds of drinkers. It might not be very feasible for maybe drinkers who are occasional, since they would prefer to go
Hmm.
for higher priced beers or more premium beers. But in India, we know that most people do tend to spend on the lower side, especially when it comes to alcohol. So it seems like a more attractive asset in that sense. um, I would also look at why they are buying from our target company. So, what are the USPs of the target company? Is it taste? Is it quality? Or is it simply packaging? Because Goa, as you mentioned, is known for a lot of tourists, and tourists might pick up things more based on packaging and less on taste. So, I would look at what the USP of a target is. Under channel, I would look at what is their channel strategy. So, in my understanding, alcohol can be sold either through retail shops or thekas, as we call them, or they can be sold through bars and pubs and some other restaurants. Since it's a mass market product, I would assume that they are not as present in in bars that are more expensive or in like in more premium restaurants. They would be more frequently present in retail stores and thekas, which also offer a lot of other cheaper alcohol. Under the production, I would look at what is the production capacity and is there any unutilized capacity so that we can optimize or maximize the production revenues and make their production
Hmm.
process more robust. And I would also look at the workforce, where I would look at firstly the leadership. So, what is their experience with the alcohol market and how efficient or how experienced the leadership is in this industry. I would look at their sales teams also, because in my understanding, a lot of selling is, especially the B2B sales in the alcohol industry, is done through the sales team.
Hmm.
So, how efficient their sales team is. And then I would also look at the general workforce of the company, because so what is their sentiment towards the company, whether they are happy, because if the workforce is not happy in a company, then probably there is something wrong with their management also. You can let me know if I missed something, or am I fair to proceed?
No, I think this seems fine to us. You can proceed with the other aspects as well.
All right. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about was synergies. Can I take a few seconds to build that as
Sure.
well?
Fine.
Uh, right. So there are three sorts of synergies that I can think of. Firstly, in terms of offering, right? So the current company has a whiskey offering and the target has a beer offering. I think when they can club the two, they can negotiate much better deals with their channels or with their partners or any other stakeholders involved in the business. And also, the brand awareness would be way better for a company that has two types of spirits compared to one. Secondly, also there's the synergy of knowledge. So the local company here, the beer company, would have a lot of knowledge with regards to the demand that is there in Goa, the seasonal fluctuations, and there are other aspects of the market which the global company might not be aware of. So we would have access to those and get to tap into a much larger market, which is Goa. And we can also take the local player there from the west and expand it to the other parts of the country. I also think there would be knowledge in terms of compliance. So, in my understanding, state laws are very different in India. For alcohol, it differs from every state to state. So, I think the target would have localized knowledge
Mm-hmm.
of Goa and help us penetrate deeper into that market as well. And lastly, under synergy, I would also put the aspect of risk or diversification, since we know that there are times of the year where beer is more popular as
Mm-hmm.
compared to times of the year where whiskey is more popular, depending on the weather or depending
Right.
on the event. Um, Also, there might be a lot of concerts or a lot of events in Goa that might be happening, and only people tend to go for one spirit over the other. And if we have presence across all, it sort of decreases our risk in terms of diversification.
Sounds
Is
fair.
there anything else that I should look at?
No, I think this should be sufficient for us. We can close the case for now.
Okay, thank you so much.
The interview did manage to cover a lot of ground in their first round of questioning with regards to the company, the product, the customers, and the competitors of the asset. However, they could have probed a little bit more into the products of the company, whether they are selling in glass bottles or in cans, because this difference in offering can affect a lot of things going forward. And also, they could have covered the aspects of B2B versus B2C, whether the company is only selling B2C or also has B2B channels. They went ahead with the assumption of B2C, which was fine, but they should have clarified it. Furthermore, their division of the case into financial aspects, operational performance, and synergies and risks was nice. However, under the financial bucket, they could have covered a lot of additional things as well, such as the capital table, the interest payments, profitability, or the NPV expected from the project. There are certain stakeholders that were missed under the operational aspect, such as the distributors, with whom people have credit cycles. And two companies, one beer and one whiskey company, might have very different credit cycles, especially that one is a local one and one is an MNC. And difference in credit cycles can affect businesses. So that is not a synergy that can be expected. Even for warehousing, a warehousing for a beer company would be very different from that of a whiskey company. So these synergies are not to be expected under the operational aspect. Furthermore, the restaurants do have fixed menus and they just cannot change the menus overnight. So when they spoke about how the offerings can be increased after the acquisition, while it might be true for the retail stores that the candidate spoke about, it is not true for the bars or the restaurants that also form a part of their distribution. All of this was part of things that you look at during acquisition or a diligence phase. There are certain things that you look pre-acquisition as well, which is why do you want to do the acquisition in the first place. Well, they had clarified the objective of this acquisition. We don't know why this company went with this specific asset only. Why did they not choose to, let's say, penetrate into East India first, or South or North India first? And if they wanted to go to West India or Goa, why did they not go with some other company? Like, why this specific company? We still don't know it. Even post acquisition, what are the plans of the company? Do they want to absorb the beer company under their own name? Do they want to operate it as a separate entity? Like, we still don't know. So while most of the case focused on what can be the things that we can see during the acquisition that form part of financial or commercial due diligence, a lot of things that logically can be looked at before or after the acquisition were missed. So that could have been spoken about even more.